Since 2015, it's been VeChain's mission to upgrade the world with blockchain. Surviving two bear markets, they've built hundreds of enterprise dApps across businesses and industries. And today we welcome Sunny Liu, co-founder and CEO of VeChain, to discuss their approach to Web3, sustainability, and tokenization. Also, yours truly, that's me, has launched his own Memecoin, and you'll find out how to get some in your wallet right away. Like VeChain, we're all about creating meaningful change and shaping this new global economy on this episode number 764 of the Bad Crypto Podcast.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, ignition.
Who's bad?
How about them Chiefs?
Dude, luckily I was watching it in an alternate universe, and they were amazing. And they won it all, three-peated.
They got the three-peat,
wow.
four-peat,
Yeah.
and five-peat, all the
Yeah.
peats.
And then I came back to this reality, and I was like, oh my God, we got to start over back at zero, Pete.
Wow, they had their asses handed to them.
I tell you what, there was a couple of things. For one, their defensive line of the Eagles was ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God.
Yeah.
And then the offensive line is the largest offensive line, the largest and tallest, biggest offensive line in the history of the Super Bowl. They were ginormous. 6'5", 338 is their average. And one dude is like 6'9". And the Chiefs defense did pretty good. Like, my whole biggest worry was like, how are we going to stop their running back? The dude who ran 2,000 yards, how are we going to stop him? So I think we spent all the time figuring out how to stop him, and then we didn't figure out how to stop anybody else. And I think that's probably what they figured out. But there was a couple of things. One was you can't throw interceptions whenever you're in, on their side of the field. And so that one happened. It was a pick six. We were down 10-0, and I was like, okay, that's great. We're down 10-0. That's when the Chiefs Super Bowl
Right.
starts. We always down 10-0.
Right.
And then he threw that pick six on that dude's birthday, Cooper DeJean. It was his birthday, and he got
birthday.
pick six.
Yeah.
17-0. I was like, oh my God, happy birthday.
Yeah.
And that was right down there. You can't throw the ball there in their red zone, essentially. Boom. So, and then he threw another interception. One he got hit. And you take away that, and it's a reasonable game. And then there was another part where we had a great play, and then our dude was lined up off sides, and they just totally negated it, and they ended up scoring a touchdown on that one. And then there was that one wide open play where they threw the ball to D Hopkins, and then he dropped it. He tripped over his own feet, and he had a bunch of real estate in front of him. I was like, oh man. So it's like, that just goes to show that a couple things can happen and just destroy everything. And so,
well, you know who else lost? Taylor Swift lost. Woo, boy, that was hilarious. Trump won. Lots of applause for.
Yeah, I don't think she'd ever experienced being booed like that, but
yeah,
she's from Philadelphia originally, and so they think she should be a Philadelphia fan. She used to be. Her dad's a huge Philadelphia fan. Now she's dating Travis Kelce, so now she's not.
Nothing wrong with a little humility, right? Taking the guys down a notch. Three-peat's a big deal, and you didn't
Nobody's
do
done
it. So there was definitely some sadness in Mudville around here.
Former
producer Aaron.
You're exactly right. It was just like some people are getting a little big for their britches. And I was just thinking, like, dude, we've been to 5 Super Bowls
in
the last
in 3 years.
Like, that's insane.
And you won 3. So
and we won 3. And dude, and Mahomes is still under the age of 30.
But here's the thing, and I definitely got resistance when I mentioned this to Aaron. I said, guess what? Mahomes ain't the GOAT. It's still Brady. For now, I'm not saying he can't.
Oh, yeah, my son was upset about that, but I'm like, and who cares if he's the GOAT or not? Like, he's really good.
He's really good, and he's got some years ahead of him. Anyway, welcome to the Bad Crypto Podcast, talking a little sports ball here.
I will say this. One final thing is what I would say is
Travis has lots of words today. Go ahead.
Well, I would just say this, is that when the Patriots had their dynasty, America never got that money shot. Like, America didn't get to see them get blown out. Well, America got their money shot last night. They got to see the Chiefs get blown out, and 31 franchises were excited to see that. So that made a lot of people happy yesterday.
You know who the biggest losers were? Fourth quarter advertisers, right? Can you imagine spending all that money?
And that's
And
probably where historically all the good is gone whenever you're in a Mahomes Super Bowl.
yeah, and people are tuned out. Anyway, we're glad you guys are here. We got a great interview for you today. I
You know
want
what
to
was
tell
interesting
you,
though? Here, let me say this.
oh dear God, what?
There was a ton of AI commercials, no
Yes.
crypto commercials.
There wasn't any crypto commercials. There was a couple stupid woke ones for the women's flag football league. The one where they had this woman running rings around Brad. It felt like a ABC after school special. It was so stupid. And so she runs rings around the men on the team, and then it's a commercial for an all female flag
She did do a
football
super
league.
jukey thing though, dude. She had it on the hand, she did a little juke around. Like,
I
wow, that
know,
was
but if you're trying to prove that you can beat men, why don't we just put women in the NFL and find out? Like, let's just go ahead and do that.
Ooh,
Let's just go for it.
let's do
So,
that.
listen, there is a new L2 in town, and there's a lot of them, actually, a lot more of them than I knew existed. But one of them in particular, I found out about, as did you, from our friend Bradley, who was the founder of Try Roll. And if that sounds familiar to those of you who have been listening to the podcast for some time, it's because it's where many, many, many moons ago, probably 6 years or so ago, we launched the Hero token, and the chain ended up getting hacked, and about 10% of the token was stolen, and then there was a liquidity issue, a sell off, and
That thing got up to like 50 something cents at one point. Like
I
it was a
know
nice, it was looking like, whoa, this thing could be something. And then
it's
that
still a couple cents. It's there. And Travis and I, we need to talk to see, hey, what do we want to do something with the hero token? We don't know. But those guys were leading with social tokens. They were doing meme coins before meme coin really was ever a thing, except for Doge. And now they've got a new L2 called Form. And one of the reasons, there's two reasons I'm excited about this. One is that they're telling people right out front that they're going to do an airdrop, right? A lot of projects, you don't know if an airdrop's coming. They usually spring it on you, but they're actually telling you you can get points in this phase right now. And it's form.network is the website. And if you go to meditations.form.network, you can see that you can earn points right here. I've been earning some points, but they tell you in the airdrop section, here's the different things you can do to earn points that are going to go towards the airdrop. They've yet to do their token generation event, but that's going to come, and then people are going to get tokens. I don't know what they're going to be worth. Can't make any promises, but I can tell you that it's coming. So that now that the airdrop happened with that Venice AI thing, Trav, I'm like keeping my eyes out for projects that I want to play in the sandbox, because you never know. They can spring an airdrop. Like one day I'm hoping OpenSea does one. I'm hoping MetaMask does one.
mm. Dude, I think OpenSea has missed their boat. They should have did it a long time ago. But MetaMask could totally do one, and then have be able to use those tokens or something for the fees or that. I mean, as much as we've used those, like, oh my God, they could airdrop that, and I would be like in the money.
Right.
In
Right.
theory,
It'd be
I'd be in the
amazing.
money in the
So
theory.
I went ahead and I created a Joel token here on the Roll protocol, and it's Joel coin. If you go to badco.in/Joel, I think that's what it is. I'll have to test that for sure. It takes you there, and once you reach a certain amount, it hits the bonding curve and goes on the deck. So you can see here, if you're looking at the screen, so far it's pretty much only up, because everybody that's buying, there's no reason to sell it. Once I hit the bonding curve, I'm going to do a Twitter AMA with Travis. You didn't know that yet, but you're going to do it with me, and answer questions from people about all the things. So I got a shitcoin.
Yay! No, so I don't think has anybody bonded yet on
One has bonded. If we
the
go back
cherry.
here, yeah. So Cherry
Oh,
has bonded.
I put a little bit into cherry because I looked like she was about to bond, and she
Yes.
was like a hot Asian.
Yeah, and this is these are small market cap things. This is new. This is like, when Pump Funds started, it looked like this. There was a few coins that launched and a few of them bonded, and over time it's become huge. And
Over time, it's become a disaster.
Roll has been doing social tokens long before they were on Solana. So they want to become the place where people can easily launch a token. And I'll tell you what, if you guys get some Joel, I talked to Brad at Roll, Joel, Roll. And he said that they want to give away $50 in Trump tokens each week to somebody who purchases Joel. So, starting effective immediately, that's going to happen for the next couple weeks. So, get some Joel from Roll, and it'll help your soul.
Ha!
See
Well,
what I
good luck
did
with
there?
that. I love that.
See what I did
Roll
there?
helps your
A little
soul.
rhyme.
Them good.
Badco.in/Joel. This episode brought to you by Joel Coin. Your
No, it
favorite.
doesn't look like Cherry actually has fully bonded. It's at a 90% on the bond, about 91%. So it has
Oh,
not
that's
bonded.
got to be real close then. Let's
Really
see.
close.
Yeah,
91%.
91%. There you go. So,
So
anyway,
if you guys are tuning in, you could go in there and help Joel become the first roll shitcoin
to
to
get
make it go,
bonded,
to
to
pop
get
it out.
bonded, bond me, baby.
For Joel's
So
soul.
this interview is with CEO of a project that we've been following. You've been following it since the token had a different name, right?
Yeah, way back in the day, VeChain, it was VEN back in the day.
Mhm.
And then, so we have a conversation with the CEO. Now, check this out. This dude used to be the CIO of Louis Vuitton in China. And so he's seeing the supply chain. And now he realized, wow, we could do provenance and we could track and we could do all kinds of cool stuff with this. And now he's expanded into all kinds of additional things. This thing's been going on for He's been working on this thing for 10 years now, dude. This is not one of those projects that just come and go. This is one that comes and stays.
And
It's,
it is not a sponsored episode. We're not being compensated for
yeah.
this, just so you
They
know.
totally could have. We would have totally been open for him giving us some cash money.
I know. Where's Gareth, some vet, man?
Yeah.
So let's get into this right
Maybe
now. Here
some
we
fake
go.
Louis Vuittons.
It's always refreshing to speak with someone from a project that has been biddling for years. And this particular project, VeChain, has been around since 2015 with a token sale in 2017. They've made it through two bear markets, have continued to build, and today we are privileged to have Sunny Liu, the co-founder and CEO of VeChain, to talk all about what these guys are doing on blockchain. Sunny, welcome to Bad Crypto.
Thank you. I'm very thrilled to be here to talk about everything. So, yeah, let's do that.
Before getting into blockchain, you've had a lot of experience as an IT executive, and you were the chief information officer at Louis Vuitton in China. So how did you make the leap from, CIO to going, hey, this blockchain thing is cool. Maybe I should build something.
Yeah, well, actually, the days in Louis Vuitton kind of caught me with Bitcoin. Actually, way even before I quit the Louis Vuitton, I think it was in 2012 or 13. And, Louis Vuitton has that kind of let's say the annual CIO gathering or event, like all of the regions, all of the CIOs coming from the different region gathering together, talk about the new technology or talk about any business challenges. And one of the challenges happening in Louis Vuitton China is Chinese clientele became the biggest clientele group all over the world. However, there was a limitation in terms of any Chinese people try to shop outside or, especially when they travel overseas. So I was promoting, why don't we just accept the Bitcoin other than, going through all of the SWIFT or international payment, those kind of the barriers. And for sure, Louis Vuitton didn't take the proposal, just consider as one of the crazy ideas. I guess they kind of regret if they took the Bitcoin since 2013, that could have
Yeah.
made a difference.
Louis
Uh,
Vuitton finally would have made it if they would have had Bitcoin. It's like,
uh, oh, actually, I did have a very interesting conversation with Bernardo. Like, I think it was 2019 or 18. Like, we went to Paris to participate in one of the LVMH events, and we even won the run-up in the competition of the startup. And yeah, but long story short, let's say I was getting to the Bitcoin doing that kind of research. And then after that, just following up the Bitcoin talk and also, leading to the white paper of the Bitcoin, just feel like it's amazing technology. It's not only about the technical stuff, but also with the gaming theories, economics, all of the different configurations inside of that. It's just, I think it was just 9 pages of white paper, but it just feel amazing. So yeah, since then, I start to think about the blockchain, think about the Bitcoin. And in 2015, I just feel like the timing is right. And by the way, before that, I spent 2 years, even when I was in Louis Vuitton, I still do some side gigs, do the mining business. I think the best timing, we had the 6% of the horsepower globally.
Wow.
Yeah, and
Wow.
also it kind of make me the first bucket of money coming from the mining business. So I was able to find VeChain from the beginning, and also leading to the angel investors, running for 2 years, exploration in terms of technology development, applications trial. And then in 2017, I think the timing was right, and we just launched the ICO. Like Joel just mentioned, we have been through 2 cycles. The first all-time high reached to 2018, right after the Bitcoin. And then 2021 reached the second time all-time high. Now we're just striving for the third time.
Here we are. And so it's a fascinating journey that you've had, Sonny. I think that, from being the CIO at Louis Vuitton and then going, wow, from a chief information officer perspective, going, wow, Bitcoin is legit. And you started mining really early. That's awesome. So like that right there was a pretty phenomenal thing. Now I remember finding VeChain in 2017, and it was originally VEN
Yes.
whenever it first came out. And then I remember you guys did something that I don't know that I'd seen anybody else do, where it was sort of like a swap, where you had like, if you had, I believe, 1,000 VEN, now you have 100 VET or something. Didn't you do kind of like a reverse
Yes.
token split?
We did the 1 to 100 swap.
1 to 100.
One VEN swap to be 100 VET. As
Right. There you go. Very nice. So let me ask this. So when you were sitting at Louis Vuitton, and for those who don't know, maybe first of all, give your elevator description of how you would describe VeChain as your original vision and where you are today. Because some folks might not know what VeChain is, and I think that's a key thing, especially when you understand your background at Louis Vuitton.
Yeah. Well, actually, the reason I feel myself like I did make a decision to decide to go into let's say blockchain. One of the reasons is in the early days of the Bitcoin eras, or let's say very very early time of the blockchain, I find out the space was full of the technical geeks only. And
Hmm.
sure, it's very interesting, very inspirational to talk about, the new developments or new features of some technical discoveries. But I feel like, the technology supposed to serve the business purpose, creating the value for business. That was my job as a chief information
Hmm.
officer in Louis Vuitton. Basically my job was building up the bridge between the technology and also the business value. So let's say when I decided to go to blockchain, I was setting up the dream or setting up the goal is I wanted to bring this technology to the real world applications or real world adoptions,
Hmm.
because I believe the blockchain is going to be, let's say, kind of like this, we call it the Internet 2.0, right? You gotta totally change the entire world. If we say Internet is most focused on the productivity, and then blockchain gonna change the relationship, in the future world. So that's actually got me into the blockchain and decide like, okay, the word of the blockchain missing people like me. So that I feel like that's my chance. I went,
Hmm.
so that's why I devote myself, like went all in into the blockchain. Meanwhile, the first idea I was thinking about like, okay, if I wanted to really bring this technology to the real world business, what should I do? And the last global project I was leading in Louis Vuitton is actually called global track and trace system to track and trace, the Louis Vuitton products from the raw materials to manufacturing to the warehouse supply chain, eventually to the retail, even including the after service after the product was sold. So I was just thinking like, okay, what about if we just replace, the existing database by the blockchain technology, and then let's see how it goes. So that basically the first application we tried, and a couple years later, we landed the first business user, Givenchy, to track and trace the Givenchy products, starting from the leather goods. And I think 2 years later or 3 years later, we cover 100% of leather goods of Givenchy globally.
Hmm.
So that was the first use case we did.
That
It's
provenance,
amazing,
Joel, it's really awesome, right?
right?
Like be
Because
able to know where it came from, be able to track it the whole time, have provenance all along the way.
right,
Huge.
it cuts out so much of the fraud and human error, and maybe be able to for people to be able to tell the difference between a real and a fake Louis Vuitton purse, right? Because when you can see its provenance, it's authentic. So VeChain does something different in terms of its consensus. We know about proof of work, we know about proof of stake, but you've got something called proof of authority.
Yeah.
What is that, and why do you think that that is a superior model for consensus?
Well, actually, that first design came from 2017 when we, decided to, let's say, there was also a transition period. In the first couple of years from 2015 to 2017, we basically built up, let's say, the blockchain applications on the consortium blockchain or on private blockchain as a trial. But in 2017, we find out that's not going to work. We decided to like, we're going to go for public blockchain for sure. It's part of the process to learn about the technology and to try the different applications and then, make the right call. So in 2017, we decided to launch the ICO, issue the public blockchain platform as today's VeChain Soar. And at that time, actually, we were thinking about, we don't know what's going to be in terms of the regulation or in terms of, let's say the future adoptions or how to manage the balance. So we decided like, okay, we choose to go with to try to find the right balance between decentralization and centralization. So that's why, and also at that time there was a lot of challenges, debates in the market about Bitcoin, POW just consumed too much energy, wasted some of the computational power and everything. So we decided to like, okay, let's define a consensus with only 101 servers. It's not actually, I made up this number, to be honest, as a designer. And it's just like the smallest number of the three digits. And also it's, even number, right? And so that's why we go with these 101 nodes and also setting up a process to allow, let's say, everybody could apply, but you need to get granted to join the networks. So that was the first design. That's why we call it the proof of authority. But actually, recently, we are just launching the new VeChain Renaissance. And following the recent compliance, especially in Europe, we talk about the MiCA and also possible regulations, regulation clarity going to be launched in the United States. And we decided to go full decentralized after 7 years running without any outage time. And the VeChain Renaissance is going to go with full decentralization. That means no permission required anymore. And everybody can be either the validator and also the delegator. So simply to say, the current staking in terms of to secure the network is just about 3% of the total token supply. And the VeChain Renaissance is planned to let's say to upgrade to be 30, even 40% of the total staking with attractive APYs. But yeah, we're going to have an article to be released in a couple of weeks to elaborate more details about the VeChain Renaissance later on.
Sounds interesting. Sounds kind of technical too. Like our audience is probably not so technical, but you got it. You're doing some awesome stuff. So let's talk about supply chain because you guys are doing some really interesting stuff within the supply chain management, particularly in industries of luxury goods because of your background. And I've always used this sort of instance because I don't know if this would be considered a real version or not. So I want to throw a hypothetical at you because I've been to China, I've been to Shenzhen, I've been to Shanghai, and I've seen these manufacturing plants. And so I want to ask this. Let's say they want to make 350 Louis Vuitton bags. Here and then typically because of overage and they know they're going to have some mistakes, they might send enough material to make 500 bags,
Mhm.
right? Because you're
Yeah.
going to have some loss, some are going to be error, they want to get the right sort of feel of it, so there's going to be some waste. And let's say they make that 350 Louis Vuitton bags, they're perfect. They've been set with provenance. They know these are real, but now they got enough material left over to make another 75 bags and they make those 75 bags, are those real or are those not real?
Yeah.
Because,
That's a true dilemma. That's a true
right.
dilemma. Well, firstly, I have to make a correction. Louis Vuitton doesn't do any outsourcing or doesn't do any, let's say, third-party manufacturing.
Okay. So not Louis Vuitton,
Everything.
maybe Chanel or
Yeah.
somebody, just some high-end goods,
But
right?
you're right. You're right. Many brands, even the luxury brands, they are using the outsourcing. They are using the third-party manufacturing. It is exactly the problem. During the first couple of cases, we have been working with different brands. So you're right. It's not real, but it's also real. Let's put it this way. It's real because the same design, same materials, and it's not authentic or it's not authorized by the brand,
Mhm.
right? The same situation actually happening in Hermes or some other brands as a famous scandals as a brand. So what we can do is every time we also use the IoT device actually. We put the chipset into every product
Mm.
also register the chipset into the blockchain. So
Mhm.
when the brands are receiving the products coming from the third-party manufacturing, they can activate that chip on the blockchain. So that
Mhm.
means even let's say you say 350, right? Even we send it to you 500 or even 1,000 chipset to the third-party manufacturing, it doesn't matter because when the brands received only 350, they're going to activate on the blockchain, make it more, let's say, make it authorized products other than those kind of knockoff, or we call it a product.
Yeah. And I've seen that in Shenzhen. I mean, I was like, how are these different than regular Oakley glasses? These are exactly Oakley glasses, right? And they're like, oh, they're much cheaper because they're made in the same factory. So I've always had that dilemma. So I want to thank you for sort of clearing that up. Now, let me ask just a follow up before I throw it back over to Joel. 350 RFID chips, are those also like NFC so I could literally go boop and
Yeah.
then scan them and see that they're legit?
Yeah, well, actually, the first application we did, even the iOS didn't support the NFC. Uh,
Mm.
it only happened like in 2017 or 18. And then iOS start to recognize or start to support the NFC reading as well, and then make it so much easier for, let's say, any user could just tap the phone, whatever is Android and iOS, and read about the chip and go authorize on the blockchain and to see like, oh, it's verified on the blockchain, something like that. So that was a long time ago, like in 2017, 18. That was the first batch of the use cases running on VeChain.
Well, and it's super important, of course, for chains like yours to have partnerships with Fortune 500s. And I think we know that a lot of Fortune 500s are moving into blockchain, at the very least exploring, if not already implementing. And I know that you're wearing right now a UFC VeChain shirt, and you're working with some other companies like Walmart and Salesforce. But I'm really curious about the UFC
Mhm.
Yeah.
partnership. What's that about, and why?
Yeah, well, it started 3 years ago. Actually, I met with Dana White 3 years ago during the pilot show of Power Slap. They're doing the internal power.
Power slap. Yeah.
Yeah, they're doing the internal pilot show inside of the PI of the UFC headquarters in Vegas, and we have a brief chatting. And honestly, the reason we selected to sponsor the UFC because firstly, I believe it's a very innovative design. Think about that. You know, when Dana White took the UFC 20 years ago, it was like the boxing, right? All over the place. However, boxing hasn't changed anything in the last 60, 70 years. And Dana White find out the unique part of the UFC and made it to be a very innovative. It's also representing breaking out of the box, go fight yourself, be resilient, that kind of spirit, and called out, let's say, the young fellows or young generation's attention, and then made it to be the $1 billion platform as today. And also, they have, I find out they have a very similar strategy as we do, as VeChain do. Firstly, the main territory is the US, and we have more than 50% of the community members coming from US. And they started in Europe, and we also started in Europe, and they actually extended to Asia as well, which we are also putting the Asia or starting from Singapore as our third priority after the US and Europe running parallel. So we find out also the fans of the UFC is very overlapping with the crypto fans, with the crypto community. They're young, they're energetic, they're passionate, they believe what they do. So it's very fitting the profile, the audiences we want to outreach in terms of the branding. And more important, they are very open up. They're very open up in terms of the future collaborations. Even like think about that. It's not today. Today, everybody's talking about the US going to be the center of the Web3. David Sachs becomes AI and a crypto czar of the White House, right? But 3 years ago, they have a very open mind, like embrace, let's say, willing to embrace about the blockchain technology, looking for not only about the sponsorship or partnership, but also looking for real adoptions, real use cases. Give an example, last year we did the first trial with the UFC to put also chips into the gloves, new fighting gloves. We're also talking about the future collaborations. And recently, we also, thanks to UFC, we are partnered with 4ocean.com, which are a nonprofit organization to focus on clean up the water, clean up the ocean. It's a very, let's say, exciting team from Miami. They are really focused on the ocean cleanup initiatives. Yeah.
So I thought, Sonny, I thought you were going to come on here today and introduce that you're going to be going into the ring in the octagon. This is going to be your fighting debut, or was that under embargo? Was we not supposed to say that?
Well, I got to find the right opponent, right?
Now, are the chips in the gloves just to track them, or is there actually can there be functionality like it's tracking the hits and the punches and what lands and what the impact is?
No.
Gathering
you got to hit 100 miles an hour by
Right.
that.
Well, actually, the funny thing is in the PI of headquarters of UFC, they have a full equipment, like in the training center. There is a motion detector, there is a camera, there is machines could measure your punch strength, the speed, the angle you kick, and everything, and to give you the best instruction about that. Actually, we're trying to build more application with them. For example, thanks to the AI progress, we can use, let's say, camera to capture your motions of your, let's say, when you do a gym session, we can set up your phone, simply just use your phone, put aside, and capture your motions and to recognize what kind of let's say you do a squat, you do the push-ups, or you do the bench pushing, and then could calculate how much effort you have to build
You can
up.
literally track that over time and see how you improve and get better, right? Like
Yeah,
regular
yeah, yeah.
consumers can use that. So I got a couple of questions. I want to ask this one because it says now VeChain Thor. Like what happened? What was the merger between VeChain and Thor? What's that partnership like? Because I don't know that everyone knows what happened there.
No, actually, it's not a partnership. We just named the VeChain blockchain as a VeChain Thor. I know there
So
is
I
a
think that might confuse some
there.
people then because I'm like VeChain Thor, are they partnered with Thor Chain? Like
Because
what's the deal?
that's Rune, right?
I think they kind of named the blockchain after us. We named our blockchain like when we launched in 2018, June 2018. But if you check the Solar chain, I think they come up after 2019 or even 2020,
They could
something.
have picked Captain America. They could have picked Hulk,
Right.
and no, they went with Thor.
They could have picked Loki.
Yeah. Mm.
Oh, I think VeChain was one of the famous ones, so why not?
You guys are doing great, Sonny. I'm impressed with your longevity. You've been around now for 10 years. I mean, like that is unheard of in the space. Market cap still reasonable. It's only like $2.5 billion, but that's like, this is one of those ones that's been around. You guys are doing stuff. So explain what's on that future roadmap for VeChain. What are some objectives you guys are shooting for? And what does the next couple years look like?
Yeah, well, 2025 is going to be a very critical, not only for VeChain, but also for the entire crypto world, right? Firstly, US is just welcoming the most crypto friendly president ever. And lots of the expectations about Bitcoin reserve and also the regulation clarity in terms of cryptos. Actually, before we just started, I just mentioned about David Sachs had the first press conference in terms of crypto to put to the US, or let's say to try to secure the US leading position in the crypto side. So everybody get quite exciting about that. To VeChain, actually, we never changed the course, to be honest. Um, is always think about how to bring the real world application to the blockchain, or how to use the blockchain technology to create the real world value. And following the latest white paper, by the way, we released the three times white paper. I think we are only one of the, maybe only one project has done that in the crypto space.
Mhm.
Because honestly, white paper is just a statement about what you're gonna do, right? And every once in a while, you gotta upgrade what you do to catching up to fine tune your direction and eventually get you to the final goal. So it's just a different milestone, I would say. So following the latest white paper we co-author with BCG, we call Web3 for Better, kind of
Three
upgrading
for what?
Web3 for better,
For
like
better?
word, better
Okay.
word,
Better
to
work. Gotcha.
specify, let's say, the use case or application in the sustainability areas.
Mhm.
Uh, it's kind of like upgrading from the previous supply chain or track and trace project. Think about that. Track and trace or supply chain management basically is the first step. You migrate some business activity or business data on the blockchain. And then the next question you should ask is, what is the unique value of those data on the blockchain, which is immutable to change, right? And we believe the first, let's say, promising area is sustainability. Also coming from some of our experiences, like with BYD as a number one EV car in China, and H&M, Receipt, Ocean Cleanup. Those are all, we find out sustainability is quite a common topic for most of the enterprise, and they rely on those data which cannot be changed. Right?
Mhm.
So that's why in 2023 we released the latest white paper, and in 2024 we actually delivered the first ecosystem we call vbetter.com. So it's a DAO ecosystem. It's a platform to enable multiple different decentralized applications to incentivize individuals to do good things or make better actions on your
Yeah.
daily basis.
It's so important because I mean it seems like with all these meme coins and everything else that's coming on, just even the crypto industry is getting a little dirty, right?
Yeah.
It's like people need to be better in the crypto world. I think in a whole. I mean, you guys have done a great job over there. I'm really impressed. But long term, Joel, do you have any other final questions
Yeah, I just want to pull up the site here for those who are watching. VeChain.org is the main
That's our
website
white paper.
to learn. That's where the white paper's at. VBetterDAO.org. VEBetterDAO.org is where you can learn about that. And I noticed that you have launched your grants program is out there.
Yeah.
What kind of programs, what kind of ideas and developers should apply for a grant?
Well, it's very simple. We call X2N format. So basically, we wanted to incentivize individuals can do better actions, can make a better choice, to do the real thing in sustainability. Simply to say, I find out honestly, sustainability becomes weaponized, or let's say ESG, that kind of narrative becomes weaponized or greenwashed, right? Actually, many enterprise kind of get fined because of misleading or over exaggerated about the ESG efforts or sustainability efforts. But most of the normal people feel like out of the game or left out of the game. So we wanted to focus on the real actions coming from everyone's daily efforts. And I wanted to give you some of the examples. For example, my favorite one is we call mugshot. So every time you drink coffee, don't use a paper cup, but use a recycled mug. You can just take a photo about the mug and also the coffee and take a photo about your receipts in the coffee shop, and then you can get the rewards. Yeah, like this one. So
Take
it's
a
very
photo of your mug and get rewarded.
yeah, get reward about the token, and everybody loves that because it's so easy. And actually, don't underestimate the small effort coming from everyone. Let me tell you a number. Every year, humankind consume 500 billion paper cups in the different type of the drinks. And it's coming from more than 6.5 million trees every year. If every individual are able to save, let's say, to consume less, 30% or 50%, that means we're, as a joint efforts, we're saving more than 3 million trees every year. How big about that? So
Yeah.
that's a first. And second example, I love that, is we actually finished the integration with Tesla system. So we call that decentralized application is called EV Earn. So basically, we want to incentivize people to use EV more than just fossil cars as a recycle energy or renewable energy, because we all know, the planet Earth has, capped gas reserve or traditional energy reserve, right? So right now, if you're a Tesla owner, you can log in this EVM with your Tesla account. And basically, the car information automatically loaded to the EVM. And every time when you charge your Tesla, and the API also loads the charging data into the smart contract, and you get the rewards right away.
Yeah, you earn crypto by having an electronic car.
Yeah.
Dude, that's so crazy. I love that. And there's a lot of stuff going on with energy, right? So there's some scientists that have figured out how to do, nuclear fusion more effectively. And so they could even create like its own little egg-sized fusion battery that could power your home indefinitely and power your cars and stuff. So it's
Yeah.
like I think we're sitting on the edge of some amazing innovations, and it's just such a great time. It's on one side, it's like, wow, I can't believe all this crazy stuff's going on. On the other side, it's like, wow, what an amazing time to live. And so I applaud you. Thank you for what you're doing in the space and making this stuff better. I just reached out to you on LinkedIn. I'd love to chat with you further about some things,
Sure.
initiatives as well. Anything else, Mr. Joel?
No, I think that's great. Sonny, thanks for coming on today. We'll have links to you and the sites in the show notes, and we will be keeping an eye on VeChain. Did you learn anything, Travis? Because I haven't told you, but that's actually the reason we do this show, is so that you'll learn something.
Did I learn anything?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it was great. I learned that the CEO of VeChain is awesome.
Yeah.
Like he's out in Silicon Valley doing great stuff. Cool guy and very innovative. He was funny. very engaging, like kind dude. So I really enjoyed chatting with him. And I really enjoy that you guys tune in to listen because this is a fun thing that we've been doing for a long time, and you guys participating is something that we really appreciate.
I might have to sneeze.
Go ahead and sneeze. I just want to say thank you for tuning in. Thank you to Sonny Lou of VeChain for being part of this. Thank you all for going out and then filling up your bags full of Joel's, filling your sack full of Joel. I know.
From my sack to yours.
Stack Joel's sack.
Stay bad.
Who's bad?
The Bad Crypto Podcast is a production of Bad Crypto LLC. The content of the show, the videos, and the website is provided for educational, informational, and entertainment purposes only. It's not intended to be and does not constitute financial, investment, or trading advice of any kind. You shouldn't make any decisions as to finances, investing, trading, or anything else based on this information without undertaking independent due diligence and consultation with a professional financial advisor. Please understand that the trading of Bitcoins and alternative cryptocurrencies have potential risks involved. Anyone wishing to invest in any of the currencies or tokens mentioned on this podcast should first seek their own independent professional financial advisor.